All right,
Hello?
Austin, do you have us? We've lost it. Austin, do you have us? Can you hear us? Oh,
Yes.
perfect. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, guys, we're now joined by Austin Dillon, driver of the number 3 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet and new dad. Can you talk us through what these past couple of days have been for you, all the excitement?
Yeah, it's I first start off with saying I'm tired, but it's been an amazing experience, and Mom has absolutely crushed it. Dad's doing all he can. He's hanging on by a thread, but today is awesome. Actually, sorry I was late. I was just playing with him. He is an amazing little guy, and just pumped to have him in this world and ready to show him everything about life. It's pretty cool.
That's great. Well, we'll just get started here and open up the floor for questions from the media. As a reminder, if you have a question, just click that participants tab and raise your hand. We'll get started here with Holly Kane. Go ahead, Holly.
Hey, Austin, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about kind of how well the whole team is doing, both you and Tyler. You're getting top 10s. You guys are really excelling at a level early in the season that's kind of a high for the team in the last couple of years, and just wondered what it's like, what your relationship with Tyler is, and what your sense is of the team as a whole really being on it this year.
Yeah, it's been an awesome year so far. Always want more, but I mean, compared to years past, I'm very optimistic where we are. Especially from last year to this year, big jumps, and those jumps are hard to come by. So, Tyler coming in the off season with an Xfinity championship, brought some momentum. I think it fired up everybody. It fired up myself to compete. He's a good wheelman, and it just builds both teams to really kind of compete within, and that comes with these good finishes that we're having. The competition is great at RCR, and you got to have that. I feel like that's a big part of it. And then Chevrolet stepped up their game in the off season and really gave us something else to work with as far as the car goes. And our whole entire shop working really hard. Obviously, it's been tough on everybody with the quarantine and whatnot, but I feel like we did a good job of keeping up with the work that we had ahead of us, and it's been a really good. It was a good break, I think, for our team, if anything, and the way we go to the racetrack now is a little different. Less people go to the track, and I think that's a good thing for our guys. It really shines the group that we have. The core group on each team is strong, and that's nice to see.
Great, thank you.
All right, our next question will come from Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Austin, I'm not sure when Ace was born, but was there a point there late Saturday night or early Sunday morning where you thought you might miss the race?
He was born at 6:30 in the morning. So it, there's definitely a time period when you're going to the hospital and mama's getting checked in and you're just hoping everything is going to go smoothly. And it did. Good Lord bless us with an amazing pregnancy. Mom just walked in and crushed it, and Ace came out flying colors. Everything went well, and but any small thing goes wrong during that time frame, I'm not racing. So everything went good. The doctors were great. We used Wake Forest, and they did such a great job with Ace and Mom, and that's what allowed us to get to the racetrack and have just a really memorable day.
And looking ahead to Talladega, how do you think the changes in horsepower and the no aero ducts will impact the race?
Well, I don't really know how the aero ducts will do. I think that we've obviously raced there in the past without aero ducts, and so that's one thing I just don't really even. I'd have to really go back in time and look at what our cars did differently, but there was probably somewhere you can match them up to. I don't know what the closest year that we ran a package like this to would be, but we feel like, the racing is going to be different than the way it was at Daytona, and it always is different from Daytona to Talladega. So I'd say the first stage of the race will definitely be a learning curve for about all of us. Setup wise should not be a problem. I hope not. But just the way you race, the runs you get, we'll be learning that first stage. And you want to be aggressive because every point matters throughout the year. So just trying to play the chess match that's ahead of us this weekend is going to be the key, is just knowing when to go. I think I've done a lot of different kind of strategies when it comes to speedway racing, but my favorite is just going out there and racing and kind of throwing caution to the wind. I feel like that usually plays out better for us. Now I say that I won the Daytona 500 being a little more cautious, but it's just more fun that way when you go out there and race. So we'll see. We'll make a decision quite early in the race to kind of figure out how everything's going, and hopefully all of our Chevys will run up front together and work hard together to do what we need to do to bring home a win for Chevrolet.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will come from Jason Brown. Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you, Austin. Thanks for taking the time this afternoon. Congratulations on everything going on personally and, of course, professionally on the track. When NASCAR resumed its season and all the precautions that were taken from a safety and travel standpoint, it was a very small footprint. You guys could just drive to Darlington, of course, and then Charlotte after that. But with COVID-19 still very much a threat in our country and around the world, the precautions that you have to take now as you travel and expand your footprint and, going to places like Miami and Talladega, if you could share maybe a little bit some of the precautions that you and others are taking from a travel standpoint to try and still keep everybody safe and socially distant as you get to the track.
Yeah, I think we've done a good job. RCR is making our teams kind of ride. When they go to the track, they can only take 2 in a car at a time. Sorry, my dog is stressed out. She's still learning on what's going on. We got a baby here, and I feel like she's already acting like the baby's protector. So I keep hearing her whine and freaking out a little bit. But I think RCR did a good job implementing their own kind of rules where we can only ride with 2, I think, people in a crew together to the track, and then drivers as far as getting to the track. We've been pretty much with ourselves. Tyler flew with me. Me and him flew together, to Atlanta. And, everybody's just kind of been keeping their distance and wearing masks, doing everything that they've asked us to do throughout the process, and it's worked well. We obviously take our temperatures and report back to RCR and NASCAR with those. So, and then just trying to stay away from big groups of people. So, it's the Zoom meetings, we use Microsoft Teams, so just talking to my guys. And I think it's really drawn my team a bit closer, I think, because you get to look at each other on the phone. And even though, I don't know, I guess my mind doesn't wander as much when I'm just talking to my guys at my house. It's kind of nice. Really have a time to sit down and talk about our cars and go through the whole thing, go through the race. It gives you more time to just kind of focus on what's going on and what went on. So I think it's been really good for my team.
And so when you are flying, I'm assuming it's smaller groups maybe as opposed to in the past. Is that fair?
Yes. I think the teams are kind of flying on a different path than what the drivers are, and just trying to stay separated as possible. We go in at certain times to be able to check the car, road crew and then the shop crew are going in and out at different times also, so they're not really connecting either.
All right, our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Hey, Austin, you talked about points. Obviously, I know the focus always is to win, but obviously the last few weeks you've been bouncing around that 13th, 16th, 17th spot in the points. How much do you pay attention to it at this point as Talladega marks the halfway point of the regular season, and how much does that start to dictate what you or your team might or might not do in certain situations?
I think I don't think we can change what we've been doing as far as strategy goes. I mean, I think we've been aggressive when it comes to strategy, and that's worked out for us. Some short pitting that have gained us spots at the end of these races. So Justin, I trust him, and I think, obviously to be where we want to be, we want to win races, and we feel like our cars are very close and capable to doing that right now. The more we run in the top 5, top 10s, that's when you get those opportunities to win. And I felt like we've had 2 cars that are capable of running speeds to win this past weekend at Homestead. I would have loved to see what our car did if we would have been able to not have the problem we had with the tire getting away. And then Martinsville, another really fast race car that we had the flat tire pretty much before the race started. So the opportunities are coming, and we need to capitalize on them. And I think the only way to do that is you see guys like Brad Keselowski, I think, is a great example. I don't feel like he's had the fastest car in most of the races he's won, but he's hung around, and his team has given him that opportunity to get clean air and win those races. So the aggression has to come, and then it just makes it a lot easier when you get a win under your belt. And I don't feel like in years past, I feel like we could circle and kind of think about the small amount of opportunities we have to win a race at our group. And this year I feel like we've got definitely a bigger shot at winning with more opportunities available with the speed in our race cars.
Well, also, what do you feel like you are better at in speedway racing at Daytona, Talladega in the last year? I mean, obviously, I know you won Daytona, so you've had success, but where do you feel like as a driver you've gotten better over time?
Maybe just the choices I make. I feel like the choices, the lines, just drafting closer to people, making the right calls, just from history and being in these races. I don't know. I think it comes with spurts. I think you get in a rhythm with speedway racing sometimes, and it really works out for you. And then you think you got it figured out, and you have a streak of bad finishes, and you're like, what's going on here? But the one thing that's kind of resonated in a long time with me is the moment you start hating speedway racing, it's just not going to be good for you. So you got to learn to love it and enjoy the craziness of it all. And I think that kind of breeds more good finishes for you. You start being kind of against it, and it'll bite you.
Thank you.
All right, and our final question is going to come from Josh Sims. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, Austin, congratulations on the newborn, first of all. And just wanted to ask you what your thoughts were when you heard about the AllStar race moving from Charlotte to Bristol.
I thought it's definitely a big change. I think it's good for AllStar to move around. I feel like Marcus and all the people at NASCAR did a good job choosing Bristol because you're going to get a lot of action there. It's very easy to get to someone's back bumper, move people. It's chaotic track, and for an all-star race, I think it's a beautiful setting for it. I think some of the drivers aren't going to like it because they know what's coming. It's going to be a bit of a mess at times, but then it's going to be just, hopefully it'll put on a great show for our fans. That's what we're here to do. And I'm lobbying for the choose rule, and I think there's a shot at it for the all-star race. I'm hoping that goes into effect. I think that track's perfect for it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, Austin. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Congratulations on baby Ace, and we will see you in Talladega.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.